Welcome to today's explainer. So, picture this. It's 2016, and out of absolutely nowhere, a massive digital flood takes down Twitter, Netflix, and Reddit all at the exact same time. It was huge. Today, we're demystifying that exact hidden digital force. We're going to break down exactly how sudden, massive digital floods can literally take down the biggest websites on the internet. We'll explore the real mechanics behind these events, and we're going to make the complex networking concepts incredibly easy to grasp. Okay, let's dive right in.
I want you to think back to a time when you were, say, trying to buy concert tickets, or maybe just check your bank balance, and the website just spun and spun and spun. Have you ever stared at a loading screen that simply refuses to budge, completely shutting you out? Now, you might naturally think, oh, it's just a random network issue, or maybe a simple glitch on your Wi-Fi. But honestly, sometimes what you're actually experiencing is the direct fallout of a deliberate, highly coordinated cyber attack. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with number 1, the restaurant metaphor, move to number 2, defining the digital deluge, break down number 3, 3 types of attacks, look at number 4, spotting an active attack, and finish with number 5, stopping the flood. Section 1, the restaurant metaphor, visualizing a system overload. Okay, imagine a really charming, small restaurant. It's built with exactly 20 seats available. That's it. The kitchen, the waitstaff, the floor plan, they're all perfectly optimized for exactly those 20 people. But suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, 500 people rush through the front doors at the exact same time. The infrastructure was simply never built to handle that kind of capacity. And the inevitable result of that massive crowd? Well, your real customers can't enter. The staff gets completely overwhelmed, and the service just stops completely, right? The restaurant hasn't burned down or anything, but functionally, it might as well have. And this is exactly what happens to a targeted server or website when it gets flooded with way too many requests, just far, far beyond what its digital infrastructure was built to handle. It simply cannot serve legitimate users.
Section 2, defining the digital deluge, essential terminology. You've definitely seen the acronym DDoS in the news. It stands for Distributed Denial of Service. Now, the denial of service part is easy to grasp. It just means the website or server becomes totally unavailable, exactly like our overwhelmed restaurant. But the absolutely crucial word here is distributed. It means the attack isn't just coming from one giant supercomputer in a basement somewhere. No, it's coming from many different systems all at once. Multiple systems are sending a huge number of simultaneous requests to one single server to make it slow down or just crash entirely.
So you're probably wondering, how does a single attacker get access to all these distributed systems? Well, that brings us to malware. This is malicious software that attackers use to secretly infect multiple devices. And surprisingly, we're not just talking about laptops or computers here. Everyday IoT or Internet of Things devices like smart fridges, baby monitors, or webcams are actually prime targets. The owners of these devices usually have absolutely no idea they've been compromised, but this malware is the master key that allows the attacker to remotely control them.
And when you group together hundreds of thousands of those malware-infected devices, they form what is called a botnet. A really famous real-world example of this is the Mirai botnet, which hijacked massive numbers of everyday smart devices to execute one of the largest digital floods in internet history. Think of it as the attacker's remote-controlled zombie army. When the attacker gives the signal, every single device in the botnet sends requests to the target server at the exact same split second, generating a completely fatal flood of traffic.
Section 3, 3 types of attacks, advanced networking terminology. All right, let's get into the specifics. There are 3 primary categories for these attacks. First up, volumetric attacks. These target the system's bandwidth by just sending massive amounts of raw traffic. Think of this as a giant crowd literally blocking the front door to a restaurant, so no one can even squeeze past. Second, we have protocol attacks. These go after server resources using advanced techniques like a SYN flood, which specifically overloads the core connections. In our restaurant metaphor, this is like thousands of people calling the host to make a reservation, putting them on hold, and then just never hanging up. The phone lines are completely jammed. Finally, application layer attacks. These are highly advanced and target specific applications by sending repeated, complex HTTP requests. It's the equivalent of 500 people actually sitting down at the tables, but instead of just ordering a burger, they keep asking the waiter incredibly complex, convoluted questions about the menu, completely wasting the staff's time. Section 4, spotting an active attack, identifying the signs. So how do we actually know this is happening? Detecting a DDoS attack involves a crucial chronological series of triage steps for IT teams. First, their monitoring systems will suddenly flag massive, inexplicable spikes in network traffic. Boom, out of nowhere. Immediately following that, the help desk will start fielding reports from real users complaining that they can't get in or that the website is just incredibly slow to load. Finally, to confirm it's an actual attack and not just, a viral moment of popularity, the team has to actively check the server logs. In those logs, they'll clearly see repeated or highly unusual requests, all originating from that bot ad we talked about.
Section 5. Stopping the flood. Mitigation strategies. Now for the good news. To fight back, defenders rely on a very specific toolkit. By combining rate-limiting web application firewalls, content delivery networks like Cloudflare, and robust monitoring systems, defenders can actually filter out the bad actors. Let's break down exactly how these tools directly mitigate the 3 specific attacks we just looked at. First up in the toolkit is rate limiting, which controls exactly how many requests a single user can send at a given time. Relating this back to our restaurant, imagine the host implementing a really strict new rule. Look, one person can only place one food order every 5 minutes. That's it. If a bot tries to submit thousands of HTTP requests a second, rate limiting simply ignores the excess. This is the direct countermeasure for those application layer attacks we discussed, keeping the server from wasting its precious resources on bogus, overly complex requests.
Next, we have a web application firewall, or WF, which actively filters out malicious traffic from ever reaching the server. You can basically think of the WAF as a highly trained bouncer standing right outside the restaurant door. This bouncer is actively checking IDs and stops those fake phone calls from ever tying up the host in the first place. This completely mitigates those protocol attacks, like the SYN floods we broke down earlier. It ensures only real, legitimate traffic gets inside the building. Finally, we have CDNs, or content delivery networks, and services like Cloudflare. Their main job is to absorb and manage large bursts of traffic, acting as the direct countermeasure to those brute force volumetric attacks. Imagine our tiny 20-seat restaurant suddenly gets rushed by that mob of 500 people. Using a CDN is like the restaurant being able to magically pop open 50 identical overflow franchise locations instantly just to distribute the crowd. But it's actually even cooler than that. These networks also act like a massive water filtration system. They instantly scrub and separate the dirty botnet floodwater from the clean, legitimate customer traffic, ensuring the main kitchen never fails.
Honestly, understanding these attacks is absolutely vital for anyone relying on the internet today. We've seen how these sneaky botnets operate, and we've seen how clever defenses like rate limiting, scrubbing networks, and firewalls stand in their way. But, it leaves us with a pretty serious, lingering thought. As attackers continue to build bigger botnets with brand new malware, and defenders deploy smarter cloud-based firewalls, who will ultimately win the constant tug-of-war for your digital access? It's a fascinating arms race happening right under our noses every single day.